Doing an update for this week. So, learned a couple things about the printers I have. So these two guys here are printing nicely. So this guy here is printing out some Fat Dragon Games Dragonshire floor tiles. I'm going to build a little street block for an encounter I'm thinking about. And then Printable Scenery came out with a revision to the Floyd sailing ship. They redid the wooden panels on the side to get rid of drooping and stringing. And I looked at it in 3D Builder, and I'm trying to print these without any supports. So this guy here is doing the back. And I've got the two minis doing the middle and the front of the ship. And by tomorrow afternoon they should be done. The blue MK3S Plus was making some noises the last couple days. When I moved the X-axis up about 3/4 and then start bringing it down, the bed would make a rattling sound. And while it was printing, if the bed was towards the back, moved forward about 1/3 of the way, you'd hear some rattling thumping. So I started pulling out my hair going, what have I got myself into with this hobby? And I got some parts in, so these two guys working flawlessly. I'm totally happy. And the only difference between those two and this one is this one I had the old round rubber feet on the frame. So the only thing I did is I replaced the round rubber feet with the latest square feet from Prussia. I think it's $2 or $3 for a set of 4. And the noises went away. Yeah, I'm stumped. It's that picky on the feet. And I've got this solid 2.5-inch table. I expect to be quiet, but it wasn't happy with those round feet. So I changed those, and now they all have Mitsumi bearings on the Y and X, and the MK3S Plus printed parts for the Y rod holders. And so this guy here is printing infill at 80 millimeters per second. The only thing I can hear is the fan. Well, bed movements, any printer makes noise. The minis, I'm starting to have an issue with. So 3 things. Well, when this guy does the infill, it's noisier than the MK3S's. And it's got TMC 2209 drivers. My Ender 3s with the Mini E3 dips and 2208s were basically quiet. Didn't print as fast. So, as you can hear, it's got this burr, burr, burr sound. Printing the infill at the same 80 millimeters per second as the MK3S's. Second issue, power panic hasn't been implemented yet. On the MK3S's, well now S Pluses, I've used that feature 5 times. It never had an issue. It's worked with PLA. Had a brownout, it moved over, I cleaned the nozzle, hit resume, the bed hadn't cooled down all the way, hit continue, boom, done, no issues. Not implemented yet. Third issue that I just discovered today, so this guy here started making some noises, so I was playing around the frame trying to figure out where the noise is coming from. And I had my fingers in there and the bed caught me, so it skipped a step. yeah, it skipped a step. So I looked at the firmware today for these guys. Crash detection isn't implemented yet. So, what's the point I'm trying to make? I guess it's you get what you pay for. So, between an Ender 3 and a Mini, I choose the Mini. Yes, it's got a little smaller bed. Yes, I couldn't print the back of the ship. It wouldn't fit. But printable scenery had the model for the back in multiple parts that would have fit. But I figured, well, I've got 3 MK3S Pluses. I'll go ahead and do the big part. It's doing the middle and front, no problem. But I'm missing features on this thing. Why don't we have crash detection? TMC 2209s are capable of stealth chop with crash detection. I mean, that's how they figure out sensorless homing. No power recovery, no crash detection, and fast infill makes, I'd say, 3 to 6 dB more than an MK3S Plus. And that's running, those are running the old 2130 drivers. The Enders didn't make this noise, the humming. So, 2 things I'm going to try. I'm going to try moving this guy here down to the thicker table, because right now it's just sitting on a bookshelf and that's not that thick. But I've had everything sitting on concrete blocks, and I noticed that the Minis, when they print fast, make burr, 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 burr noises more than the MK3S Pluses. And both are a little noisier than an Ender 3, but I'll never go with another printer that has the Bowden tube going all the way down to the nozzle. It will never happen. I'm done. We'll never go back there. Too many issues, too many fixes that half work. This guy here, all metal hot end. The Bowden tube only goes about down to the beginning of the throat, the heat break, and then the rest it's all stainless steel solid metal. So the Bowden tube doesn't sit there. Second, Prusa didn't go with those crap couplers. They're using these copper couplers that have a little ring in the center that lightly compresses the Bowden tube, so the Bowden tube can't twist and eat itself, and it can't pop up or down like the Enders. Oh yeah, you could do this and that and these and those, but as the x-axis moves back and forth, those 4 little teeth are cutting into the Bowden tube, cutting a groove, it pops up a little bit, it starts cutting a new groove, it pops up a little bit, and voila, you have stringing out the butt. I'm not going back there, no more. So, if all you could afford is an Ender, get the Ender. Better to print than not print. But if you can save $75 more, get the Mini. You won't have any issues with the hot end. So, the Mini, the print quality is excellent. I'm totally happy with it. What I'm not happy with is no power recovery, no crash detection, and why are the motors making this burr, burr, burr on fast movements? The Enders didn't do that. Well, it can't. The Ender never could move as fast as the Mini. If I tried to set my non-printing movement speed above 80, when it went moving, the nozzle would start dragging into the previous layer on all 3 of mine. Maybe that's something I was doing wrong. I don't know. If you don't have that problem, good for you. I had that issue. I haven't had the issue with the Minis. And the only mod I've made on the Minis is this ring. Why is my phone doing this weirdness? So I've got a new X motor strain relief. I don't like that, and I've made a modified part here on the MK3S's too. It's just one screw holds this strain relief in, and a zip tie holds the sheath and wire in, so it's actually true strain relief. Where the minis come stock, they just have the sheath zip tied to the wire coming out of the motor. That's not real strain relief. Again, you get what you pay for. $200. Yes, it will print, but you've got headaches. $349. Yes, you now get automatic bed leveling and filament detection, but you get what you pay for. $800. You're done if you build them right. It took me a while. You can throw them together and they're going to make noise. And with these, I think with these new wire rod holders and the MK3S Plus extruder, I think Prussia's figured out their issues. These guys came out about a year too early. These are just getting to where I think they're good to go. This you have a 2-week lead time. This you have an 8-week lead time. So if you have to have a printer now, if I had a choice between an Ender 3 and a Mini, I'd go with a Mini. If I could wait, save money, and get an MK3S Plus over the Mini, I'd get the MK3S Plus. Bigger bed, crash detection, quieter, and power recovery that actually works. The Mini, the whole hot end. Yeah, you could spend $68 more for a micro Swiss hot end. Good luck dialing in retraction and not having clogging. And then on the Ender 3, you still don't have filament detection run out and filament loading and unloading. You got a 32-bit board. They're quiet, but I can run these guys probably twice as fast as you could without making noises and crap prints. So I'm going to try putting this guy down here on the thick table, see if that makes a difference. It'll do a little bit, but I don't think it's going to make it as quiet as the MK3S Plus. So the other thing I'm going to do, I've got one more Ender 3 Pro left. I'm going to take its X and Y motor and replace one of these and see if it's the motor that's not happy with the 2209s. If that solves it, then boom, I'm done. Cool. But that still doesn't resolve the issue of power panic isn't implemented and crash detection isn't enabled yet. So like I said, if it was a choice between the Ender 3 and the Mini, I'd go with the Mini. If I could wait, save money, and get an MK3S Plus over the Mini, I'd get the MK3S Plus now. And that's changed after this last year when they came out with the MK3S Plus revision parts. The MK3, yeah, it would work, but it was a whole lot harder to get quiet. With the new MK3S Plus parts, it's good. It's great. And now, so another thing I changed on this guy, that wasn't the noise, it wasn't that ting 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 of the Sun-On fans. I went ahead and got 2 more OEM Noctua fans and replaced that guy's fan. So now all 3 MK3S Pluses are exactly identical. And then this new, I got the spool holders off of Thingiverse that go on the stock filament spool holders, and they tighten up on the spool. They keep the spool from twisting, thumping, and if you used just put the spool on the stock filament spool holder as the hot end was moving back and forth, you get little you could hear the filament hitting one of the sides and the whole spool rattling. It doesn't do that now. It's locked in, so all it can do is go forward. It can't go side to side. That's a pretty cool print. I like that. It's helped a lot getting rid of the little tink 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 noises while I'm sitting in my office. Alright, that's my update for this week. Hopefully in the next couple days I'll have a video on how the shit came out and some buildings. We'll check you all later.